Hey guys, welcome back to Deep Shift Labs. In this video, I want to show you how you can get a free GPU for all your AI training needs. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so I'm in Google Drive, and the thing I want to show you today is something called Google Collaboratory. Google Collaboratory, or shorthand for it is Google Colab, is a new tool which is very similar, if not identical, to Jupyter Labs if you've used that, or Jupyter Notebook, that allows you to write Python code in sections, and then you can run each section individually, change each section, and I will show you how that works later on. But they added a new feature that allows you to use a GPU or TPU runtime environment, so you can use practically, like, they usually assign like something like an NVIDIA Tesla K4 GPU specifically for all your AI related needs. Now, of course, this has some limitations, but the limitations are quite extensive, so for most projects, Google Collaboratory is plenty. So to actually access it, you just go to Google Drive, you try to create a new file, and Google Collaboratory should show up. If it doesn't, you might have to go to Connect More Apps, search up Google Collaboratory, add it, and then it will show up. So let's create a new Collaboratory right now. Right, here we are. So of course you can name it, and as you can see, it's the same file ending as any Jupyter Notebook project. It's the IPYNB. So how this works is, firstly, you have to connect yourself to a runtime. So you go to runtime, change runtime type. Right now you're selecting none as a hardware accelerator. You save and hit connect. And what it's going to do right now is it's going to use your local resources on your computer to run anything you are going to run right now. So, for example, let me run some commands, probably like import OS. And what you can do is you can just hit run, and it runs. And now you can create a new code block. And in this code block, probably you could write os.system, and then probably like ls. The commands aren't too important here, the concept is more important. And I can run this, and it will actually use the things I wrote from the previous block into the next block. And the power of this feature is you can divide your code into several sections. Like you could have all the imports, then you could do something like probably process the data, and then you could create your model, and you could train your model, and you could compartmentalize your entire code to make it more systematic, more organized, and often allows you to debug and create new features very quickly. The other thing you could do is you could create a Markdown block. This block allows you to write Markdown code, so that's just text, right? You could write comments, but it has this fancy editor, so you could either use Markdown or just use this editor and write comments and make almost like a tutorial for yourself on what your code is doing at each point in time. It also has a file browser, so you could import files from your GitHub if you from your Google Drive if you connect it. And this is running Linux, so you could even run Linux commands. If you go back to the code sample, if you hit exclamation mark, and then you type in any Linux command like pwd, for example, print working directory, it will actually work as a Linux command. So that way you could install pip, like you could do pip install numpy, and if you run that, it will actually use pip install numpy, so you could later on use it in your code. But now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, how do we get that GPU? Well, if you go to runtime, change runtime type, and here we are. If we select GPU or TPU based on whatever your needs are, it'll actually assign you a GPU on this runtime. Now, there are some limitations, and I'm not going to go through the whole list of limitations here, just a few. You can't be running on a GPU runtime environment for more than 24 hours. If you do, there's a chance that you might get banned for a month or a few weeks. But if you're not running super intensive and you just forgot to change your runtime back to none before you closed out the tabs, it'll just disable whatever you're running right now, change it back, and you'll be fine. You can run it again the next day. Now, some other limitations include you can't run something that's super intensive, like deepfakes or face-changing programs or anything that requires an immense amount of computational power, it will ban you for that. And the bans usually don't last for more than a few weeks, so that's nothing to worry about. Now, of course, there is a Google Colab Pro that allows you to get more access to more GPUs and more processing power, and you have to pay for that, of course. The one other thing I would like to mention here is that the GPU is actually quite powerful. It has 12 gigabytes of RAM, and if you use TensorFlow or anything like that, you will actually be able to tell what model it is and stuff like that. And this will actually be really powerful for all your basic computational needs. You can run convolutional networks and all types of stuff. In fact, I've been running a GAN, which is basically learning how to draw using this runtime. So yeah, I hope you experiment with this, and I hope this makes a lot of your AI projects significantly easier, as you now have a more powerful machine to run it on. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and post a comment if you have any questions or concerns regarding this. I would be happy to help you. And until the next video, enjoy making AIs.